Um, Good afternoon from Ho Chi Minh City, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our session entitled Digital Tool Series, Formative Assessment with Collaboration and Creativity. We are the ladies team from Melbourne and Ho Chi Minh City. So I'm Rianna from Hoa Sheng Uni. And my teammates are Sarah from Ready Teacher and Jin from VUS, the English Center from Ho Chi Minh as well. So today we are going to start with me presenting about Padlet, followed by Sarah's presentation on Otter.ai, and finally Jin will talk about Socrative. We will leave some time for your questions, so feel free to ask any questions at the end of our session. Now let's get started. So what is formative assessment? In a nutshell, it means to discover what students know while they are still in the process of learning it. I'd like to explain this, compare this with summative assessment by using this analogy of learning as cooking the soup. So, you know, while formative assessment is when the chef taste the soup. So the chef as learner can still make adjustment. However, summative assessment is when the guests taste the soup. So there's nothing much can be done, right? Today we are going to focus more on formative assessment again by using our digital tools. Next, what is Padlet? It's an online interactive whiteboard where users can organize their content in any way that they want on a free canvas. And I've seen that some of the comments from our previous presentations on Padlet, so I hope this is helpful as well. For me, I believe that Padlet promotes collaboration and creativities. And I'm going to show some of the student example, real examples in my classroom that demonstrate this point. Finally, according to the communicative continuum suggested by Hammer 2015, which presents the dichotomy between accuracy and fluency, I deem that Padlet would promote student fluency in their speaking, writing, or production. Okay. Now a little bit about my teaching context. So I'm currently teaching the bachelor degree in English Studies, where I mainly teach English reading and writing. My student levels range from low intermediate to intermediate, and they are mostly first year and second year students. And as you know, because of the COVID-19, so I have a chance to teach face-to-face and also on synchronous and asynchronous online sessions using Moodle and also video conferencing systems. Now, the first example I'd like to showcase here is the task self-introduction. I've used this as a diagnostic task. So I've asked my students to write a simple paragraph that introduce themselves, but also, some of their interests, their prior knowledge. And through this activity, I think as teacher, we can really dig into their prior knowledge, their background, and also their strengths or any interest. And that, I think, will help inform our subsequent planning. Also, in terms of creativity, Padlet allows users to doodle or to draw. And as you already know, they can also upload their own recording or any video that will help them to express themselves easier. And over here, we can encourage them to write their post as attractive as possible so that they can get the most reactions from the classmates. And I think that is the best interactive feature that Padlet can possibly offer. Just like this. Okay, now moving on to the next task that I have designed on Padlet is called Midterm or End of Term Reflective Journal, which is based on the KWHL thinking tool. KWHL stands for what do I know, what do I want to know, how will I find out, and what have I learned? These are all reflective questions. And I have used these questions in this framework to design a task on Padlet, as you can see on the screen here. So firstly, I've asked my students to write about what they know before they enter Hoa Sen Uni, what kind of knowledge, prior knowledge that they have, their personality, and also their education system in their hometown. What they want to know. So I've asked them to articulate their motivations and also what they would like to achieve in this course or in this bachelor degree program. How will I find out? So for this part, they will need to think about their learning style or their learning strategies that they would like to adopt in this subject. And finally, we can do it as midterm or end of term, where they need to think about what they have really learned, what they found inspiring, helpful, or motivating, and what have they learned from the subjects, from the teachers, or also their classmates. Now, so what have the student performed from this task? So I would like to showcase two examples from my class. This is a real example. The first one, the student have actually used the guiding reflective questions pretty well, which would help me to, as a reader, to get the flow of the ideas much easier. Next, she has used creativity in that she used images over here, and also she have used a video, and she posts the link into this post so that we as the reader can understand better what she would like to achieve. And also she has a visual learner. Finally, I've asked students to read their peer journal so that they will need to articulate on what they have learned from their peers' journal and any comments that they will have for their friends. And I think that will support their friendship. Another example over here. So these students have actually demonstrated her creativity as well, but this time she has she has designed her own pictures. So she adds some text, and also she needs to make some changes to her image as well. She reflects on her own accomplishments over here. So she said that I can always manage my problems. She compared herself before entering Hoa Sen Uni and after she finished the subject, how she balanced her relationship. And finally, she have taken initiative in finding quizzes on metacognitive skills. So she have learned that she is a visual learner and also a kinesthetic learner. So I can see that she really take ownership of her own learning. So let's wrap up some key takeaways, Padlet activities for formative assessment and also some extension ideas. So self-introduction, we can use a formative, diagnostic, or icebreaker. And we can also extend by doing a peer review reactions. For the reflective journal, we can do it at midterm for formative or even the summative assessment, end of term. And after that, we can do a showcase, exhibition, or also peer evaluation. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to hand over now to Sarah, who will talk about Otter.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to share my screen now and also turn off my video. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen. All good, Hanno?
Yes, all good.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today and for having us to present our collective ideas, I guess, about collaborative and creative formative assessment. And thanks, Rianna, for sharing your extensive Padlet experience with us today. I'm Sarah. I'm delighted to introduce you to Otter. Otter is AI-powered transcription software guaranteed to spice up your lessons. So the activity I'm introducing you to today is designed for students to create a dialogue based on the parameters of context, reason or purpose, target language, and length or duration as decided by the teacher in collaboration with students if you choose. In this presentation, you will see an example of a dialogue in which students arrange to meet for dinner. It's perfect for low-level classes. However, this task can be adapted for any learner type or level or even class type. So I'll move on now to a quick overview of the task. And just to have a quick look at the relevant Otter functions that I use to achieve each stage of the task. So the task itself starts with practice. We use the groups and record functions to create the dialogue. Then we move to the self-review stage using playback, edit, and highlight functions of Otter. Then moving on back to practice, where the students utilize the playback function. Then they go to peer review, and where they make suggestions regarding peer conversations using comment function. And then to my favorite part of all, which is extension. This whole task hinges on feedback and self-review, peer review, and then teacher review, which can be as minimal or not as you like. However, today being quite a brief run through of how I would actually deliver this task from start to finish, I'm just going to focus on the self-review and extend stages of the task, and particularly those functions that you see there, playback, edit, visuals, and so forth, just to show you what you can actually achieve with Otter. So imagine now that the students have finished writing and recording their dialogue, and it's time for them to complete their first review. Before simultaneously reading the transcription whilst listening, I ask the students some reflective questions, such as, does each word you're reading match the word that you're hearing? And I ask them to check for transcription problems. Now, before I show you the actual sample dialogue that I've got for you today, I thought it might be fun to be a little bit, to have some active learning from all of our attendees today. So teachers, you do have a task, and your task is to find mistranscribed words or phrases, find a grammar problem, and you will also see one line that's highlighted green in the transcript. And I want you to see if you can guess why it is highlighted. So now you will simultaneously view the transcription and listen to the current student dialogue, sorry. And I'm just going to see if I can pop these little questions in the chat box, if it comes to me. Maybe, Hanno, could you perhaps take a shot of that and pop it in our little chat box?
Yeah, I'm not sure we can paste images in there, but I can quickly just transcribe that.
I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here. I
No,
was
that's
actually
okay.
going to post it before. For some reason, I thought I could do two things. Oh, here we go, Q&A. I found it. Someone has put a question for Rianna, and I'm just hoping that I can cut and paste these little tasks. Anyway, perhaps you've all taken photos with your mind or your phone by now. So we'll just move back onto my screen if I can get back onto that. Sorry, I'm making a little bit of a mess of this. Let's get rid of that Q&A box.
Put the questions in the chat.
Thank you. Just concerned that you can, whoops. Okay, I've got I've lost my full screen, but I think you can still see everything fine. So here we go. Let's have a look at this transcription of this student recording.
Hi, it's Tomo.
Hello, Evan speaking.
Hi, Evan. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Okay, I'm good.
Cool. So what's up?
I want to go to a restaurant with you tonight.
Oh, I like it. So what time do we meet?
How about 7 p.m.?
Sorry, can you slow down, please?
How about 7 p.m.?
Okay, see ya.
Okay, so I'm not sure if anybody's put any answers in the chat box because I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting Zoom happening. Sorry, everybody. I feel a bit embarrassed, but I try to avoid using Zoom when I can.
I can give you some of the answers if you like.
Yeah, that would be cool. Thank you.
So one says that the green is maybe the target language focus. And
Maybe.
another one says grammar problem, I'm good. How about you? Mistranscribe make versus meet, owl
Good.
versus about, how hour 7 p.m. So quite a lot of answers there. Missing
Nice.
how.
Nice. Okay, cool. So were there any other answers for the highlighted line?
One there was that it missed the definite article.
Oh, very interesting. Actually, the correct answer is that that particular highlighted line belonged to the next speaker. So one thing that we can do with this edit and highlight function of Otter is actually use it for either teacher or students to move words to the next line or the next speaker, or to make changes to any words or phrases that have not been transcribed correctly. Now I'm moving ahead a little bit now because we are jumping around today to the extension ideas. So we're now imagining that we've got a class library full of recordings, and students can now choose another group's dialogue to create an alternative ending to their dialogue, or to try and change the register of a dialogue, such as rewriting a conversation to make it more polite. And this could be done in conjunction with role changes. For example, a manager and an employee. And, you know, I like this example because with these kind of roles, you've got different power in the conversation. So we can use groups and playback functions for these particular tasks, extension tasks. And also we could create a new conversation in a completely new context or setting, or find a solution to a funny or a serious problem, and have the students create a dialogue and record that dialogue. Or for lower levels, I really like to use the visual tool, which allows the learners to actually insert images straight into the transcript, just to give a little bit of context if they're sharing those dialogues with other class members of lower levels. A few more tools that we can use for extension is the word cloud function of Otter. With that we could do a synonym challenge, which I call supersizing vocab, or some vocab revision games, or some reflective writing or sentence writing. And there's also a keyword function in Otter too that shows the keywords that have been used and can help students to navigate straight to that line of dialogue as well. So you could use that for all kind of games or revision. A homework task that I thought of during COVID-19 is that students could interview a family member or a flatmate about COVID life, or interview their classmates via Zoom. So getting started with Otter is really easy. It's free for 600 minutes per month. And we also have some discount codes available for our attendees today who might want to access Otter for transcribing their Zoom classes, or for other premium or Teams features. Some of them you can see here. So in closing, Otter lets us exploit homemade transcripts with its many useful functions. It fosters language awareness, which ties in well with Maurizio's presentation before. And obviously it's focused on feedback. It also provides us with a lovely class library of dialogues for sharing either outside class or for using in summative assessment. And most of all, as good ed tech should be, it's fun to play with and it's fun to learn with Otter. So now I'll hand over to Jun, who will enlighten us on the app known as Socrative.
Thank you, Sarah. Sorry, everyone, can you hear me and see the screen? I think I'll start sharing the screen first. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jin from Ho Chi Minh City. Thank you very much for joining us today. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, all good.
Yep.
Thank you, Hannah. So everyone can see my screen, I guess. All right, so for my section, I would like to talk about Socrative. Actually, this is not a new tool. However, when I start using this in my teaching context, I gain quite a lot of benefits, not only for me, but also for the students as well. So that's why today I would like to share some of my practical experience when applying Socrative in the class. Actually, as you know, Socrative is an interactive web-based student response system that can help teachers assess the students and collect immediate feedback, not of the whole class, not only those who put their hands up. And in addition, this tool helps enhance in-class students' collaboration and creativity through various activities. With a free version, you can have up to 50 students in a room take a quiz, whereas for a Socrative Pro, for higher education and corporate, you can get up to 150 students. So at my workplace, there are maximum 23 students per class, so using a free version still works well for me. This tool is usable for both online and offline classes, as it is available on all platforms, as you can see. And how do I apply this one in my teaching context? What benefits do I get from it? Let's start with an overview of my context. So my target learners are at all ages, and they are from elementary to intermediate levels. I use this tool when teaching some skills like vocabulary, grammar, reading, listening, and even speaking. for both online and offline classes. Some of the examples today I'm going to share with you is taken from a face-to-face learning environment. Let's explore more about Socrative. On the dashboard, you can see the 4 different key features. For example, quick question, quiz, space race, and exit ticket. Let's start with a quick question. Well, actually, this function allows the students to submit their answers immediately when you raise any question orally in the class. And this is good to use at the beginning of the class so that you can, at the beginning of the class so that it gives you more input on the student's background knowledge. For example, when I teach reading and listening, I'll ask them a few pre-questions related to the topic so that I can easily pre-assess the background knowledge. From this, I can make a decision on what step or what section should be adapted so that the students can get the learning outcomes at the end of the lesson. And during the class time, quiz and space race are good functions to be applied in the class. Let's talk about the quiz here. I'd like to show you an example. Okay, like this. I suggest that you should create the quizzes in advance. However, they are saved and can be reused and reused in the future in other classes. So, like this. You can see some of the examples here. I've created a few quizzes to test the student grammar or vocabulary. And actually, my students, they get engaged a lot during the grammar practice when I try to use this tool with them. More importantly, once the student have completed the quiz, you can get instant feedback of each individual student. And from this, you can identify the challenges the students are facing too, and therefore, you can make on-the-spot teaching changes to improve the student learning. So look at this example. So here you can choose whether you want to show names or not, if you want to know exactly who is doing the quiz, or you can show the answers like this so that the students are aware of what questions to make it right or wrong. So it's quite helpful. All right, and the next feature is about space race. Actually, this helps you, allows you to create a race among individuals or groups. I normally conduct this one as a team game for the students, and they love it. So,
Trin, just so you know, we've got 1 minute to go.
Sure, okay, I try to get it quick. Yeah, all right. So they're gonna play in teams like this, okay? And I usually use this one when I want to wrap up the lesson or as a review for the students. All right, and this is an example of an exit ticket. You can use this one at the end of the lesson. Before the students go home, they have to answer 3 questions to reflect on what they learned on the day. So from this, you can analyze how much you understand, what problems they still have, so that you can plan on the next lesson, on the next class meeting. So as I mentioned earlier, Socrative is not, we can use Socrative to boost the student collaboration and also the creativity. So how? Not only the teachers can create a quiz, but also you can have it for the student as well. Student can take a role as a teacher and they can create a quiz by themselves, like this. Okay. So I gain more benefits from this. Also from the students, get more students involved, and then I boost them to improve their critical thinking skill when they are able to create a quiz by themselves. So I've just shared with you some of the key features of Socrative that we can use pre-class, during class, or post-class. So again, just to wrap up before we finish this one, for pre-class, you can start with some kind of like quick questions during class. We apply the quiz or the space race. and accept tickets at the end of the day. So for this one, this tool, you can have the student play individual, pairs, or group works. For individual, you can easily get instant feedback of each individual student so that you can adjust the plan immediately. Or they can play in pair or in groups to boost their collaboration and creativity. So that is some of the key points that I would like to share in my section today. So thank you so much again for joining us, and all of us hope that we can keep in touch after this symposium.